Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this training today on the Special Purpose LLC. Today is, Wednesday, November 10th. I am Eric Restrepo, and this is Alana Brown beside me here. If you guys haven't met us before, we're the solo 401k specialists that you speak to when you're setting up your accounts. So we're excited to do this training. Today, we're going to be talking all about the Special Purpose LLC. But before we get into that, just a quick tech check, guys. If you could just let us know, can you see us? Can you hear us? Just use the chat box on the side there. And as always, guys, post your questions down below. There's a little question box that says ask a question. So feel free to use that. We will be doing probably a brief Q&A session at the end. We've got a presentation ready for you guys, so hope you're excited for that. Awesome. Looks like everybody's saying yes. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right. You see that okay, Alana?
Yep, looks good.
Perfect. So yeah, guys, we're going to be talking about the solo 401k and the Special Purpose LLC. Super exciting topic here. I really am excited about this one. So just a quick disclaimer, this is not legal advice, tax advice, or investment advice, guys. So, we are doing education. We love doing these webinars for you guys. And this is definitely one of my favorite ones. So just a little bit about us. If you guys don't know, many of you guys are probably already clients of ours, but we launched the IRA LLC back in 2003, the solo 401k back in 2006. We have had consistent document approvals for 15 years. And all of our team members are into these checkbook control retirement plans. So we all have them, we all use them. So you're working with folks that aren't just, theoretically knowing about it, they actually really know about it by practical experience. So, and our team does work closely with the IRS, Department of Labor, making sure that everything is up to date and in compliance with all the changing amendments. Also, we never handle your money. We're not a custodian. So that creates more privacy for you. So today we're going to focus on the Special Purpose LLC. Really, what is it? Why to use it? How to use it? Really the main important things to know about it, right? So just a couple of LLC basics for you guys that don't know what the LLC stands for. That means limited liability company. So that a special purpose LLC really, it just serves a special purpose, and that's to act as an investment vehicle for your retirement plan. So typical LLCs are general purpose LLCs, which is what your business might be, right? You might have an LLC for your business. Typically with an LLC, there's two roles. There's one, there's the member, and then number two, there's the manager. So this is just a quick visual for you guys. So, the member, basically they fund the LLC, and then the manager basically gets to decide how the LLC funds are allocated. Sometimes the LLC member and the manager are the same person. This is definitely probably the case for you guys. If you have a single member LLC as your business, you're probably both the member and the manager for your small business, right? With the special purpose LLC, the roles are a little bit different, right? So the member in this case is your solo 401k trust. You are the manager. That means you decide how your LLC funds are allocated. Your trust is really the only member of the special purpose LLC. That means that only the 401k trust funds can go into that LLC, right? So no other funds, no personal funds, just the funds from your solo 401k trust. So, what is a special purpose LLC, right? It's basically an asset or a sub account for your solo 401k plan. The LLC member is your solo 401k trust, and the LLC manager is you. That's you. You're our client, right? This LLC is not a business. The sole purpose of the LLC is just to invest 401k funds, right? There's no separate tax return needed. Since that special purpose LLC is a disregarded entity, basically that allows for potential additional asset protection and also ease of investing. We're going to go over all the reasons why you might want to get the special purpose LLC. So it is a disregarded entity. So what you might be wondering, like, what does that mean, right? Basically, a disregarded entity, it's a status for a tax return, and basically your assets go onto that single member tax return. There's really since basically the 401k trust does not have a tax return itself, and since the 401k is investing funds into the LLC then also does not have a tax return, right? So it's a disregarded entity. It's exempt from any extra tax return, and it's a single member LLC. So the only member, like we talked about, is just that solo 401k trust. So what can that special purpose LLC invest in? Basically everything that your solo 401k can invest in, right? It's anything like real estate, apartment syndications, commercial properties, private equity, tax liens, tax deeds, REITs, Bitcoin, and crypto. That's actually potentially a common use too. Is that sometimes some of these crypto platforms don't allow for investments by a solo 401k trust, but when you invest the solo 401k trust funds into your LLC, then you can set up an account in the name of that LLC on some of these smaller exchanges. Many of the larger ones now do accept retirement trust accounts. So, like our partner program with Gemini, totally possible to do that. But some of the smaller ones that you might want to get specific coins, this LLC is a great reason to get. It's a great reason to get the LLC because you can use that to open up those accounts. Also, stocks and bonds, ETFs, gold and silver, private placements, crowdfunding, tons of other ways to invest. So, what is it? Also, we farm it in the state of Wyoming, and a lot of people ask us like, why Wyoming, right? There's 50 other states. Well, Wyoming actually, they originated the special purpose LLC back in 1977. They were the state in the country to operate. Also, it's really efficient. They have a simple online filing process. We can do the annual report online, which means it's less ongoing work for you, right? Also, anonymity and privacy. Wyoming does not require listing a member or manager on the articles of organization. This really gives you additional privacy. So, when we do that, we obviously on your operating agreement for the LLC, your address, like some of your private information is kept there. But on the actual Secretary of State website of Wyoming, you can list, a PO box or a registered agent address, right? So that way it keeps it completely anonymous and separate from you. Also, it's super cost effective, so low upfront and ongoing fees. The establishment fee is covered when you guys do when you set that up. And keep in mind, at any moment, guys, there's a button down below if you want to get started with your special purpose LLC. Just click that, and we'll get that going for you. But the ongoing fees are just $62 to the Secretary of State, and then $25 to your registered agent.
Okay, thank you, Eric, for all that great information. So let's discuss now why use a special purpose LLC. So, three big reasons: asset protection, privacy, and ease of investing. So, for asset protection, it provides a potential additional protection against lawsuits and bankruptcy. The LLC is recognized as a separate legal entity. This is particularly favored by real estate owners. So, let's go through an example. So, Samuel has a solo 401k with the additional special purpose LLC. He has his brokerage and crypto account under his trust name. Samuel holds his solo 401k real estate in his LLC as opposed to the trust name. His renters in the LLC owned property hurt themselves and want to proceed with a lawsuit. All of Samuel's investments in the trust name are protected from the lawsuit. The LLC is at risk of potential lawsuit. The trust assets will hopefully remain insulated. So privacy, Eric went over a lot of this. So, when you form the LLC in the right state, It can make it difficult to identify the owners of the LLC, and that is why we do that in Wyoming, because it does not require listing a member or manager on the articles of organization. Your registered agent will receive any legal notification, but most states don't require that the beneficiary or owner of the LLC to be identified. Your identifying information is in the operating agreement, which is a private document not filed with the state. And of course, ease of investing. So using an LLC may cause less of a headache, less educating on your part, just because some investment opportunities might be confused by a trust or a 401k structure. So having that LLC in place can just make it a little bit easier. Also, a big one, title companies are more familiar with the LLC structure. So how to fund your special purpose LLC. So it's really important that funds go into the 401k first. This is your rollovers and your contributions. Then the funds are moved from your 401k into the LLC. So you never want to make any contributions directly to that LLC. You never want to deposit any rollover funds into your LLC bank account either. So here's a really great visual. So as you can see, the new contributions, your rollovers, they're going into your trust checking account first. From there, you're moving it into your special purpose LLC bank account. And from that LLC bank account, you're moving it out to your deal.
I love that visual. That's such a good visual.
It's a good one. Yeah, we love visuals here. Now let's talk a little bit about bank accounts. So you'll want separate bank accounts for your trust and special purpose LLC. I know we've gone over it so many times about your different bank accounts for your trusts, but it's really important to have a different bank account for that LLC as well. You can have as many bank accounts as you want, whatever fits your investments, your whole plan best. These accounts can be at the same bank, and it's probably easiest to have all of your accounts at one bank. So if you're holding different tax classifications in each account, you can nickname each account just so when you look at it at a glance, you'll know, is this my trust account? Is this my LLC? Is this my pre-tax, my Roth, my voluntary after tax? So keeping it separate is super important. So here's another great visual. This really shows you everything. So if you look at the top, that's your 401k. That's your plan documents. From there, you can see there's your trust checking account. You can see that rollovers, contributions into the trust checking account. Also, loans, distributions. We didn't touch on that yet. That's coming out of the trust checking account. And if you're going to use your special purpose LLC for a deal, make sure the funds are coming out of that special purpose LLC to the deal. So how the funds flow is really, really important. So let's go over a little bit more about the whole logistics and structure. So like we said, all rollovers, new contributions first into that trust checking account. Loans, distributions out of that trust checking account. You're moving the funds from the trust checking account to the LLC account. If you want to use that LLC for any investments, the funds are going to come out of that LLC bank account. So the sole member of the LLC is your 401k trust, and you are the manager. The special purpose LLC has its own tax ID number and also has its own bank account.
Perfect. So let's go over an example or investing with your special purpose LLC. So let's say Timmy purchases that special purpose LLC with a solo 401k, and he decides to name it Golden Goose LLC. He rolls over a previous 401k worth $500,000 into his solo 401k trust bank account. Timmy also makes new contributions of $50,000 to his trust bank account. Timmy has now funded his solo 401k with $550,000. So Timmy locates a property he wants to purchase with his solo 401k. The property is worth $350,000 and it's going to generate some passive income. So Timmy just simply moves that $350,000 from his trust checking account into his special purpose LLC bank account. He wires the $350,000 from his special purpose LLC bank account to the closing table, maybe to the title company, right? The property is then titled in the name of his special purpose LLC. In this case, it's Golden Goose LLC. So let's do a quick visual, which we love visuals. So he's making those rollovers. That $500,000 comes over into the trust checking account from maybe a previous 401k or an IRA. $50,000 is a contribution from his sponsoring business. Once the money's in that trust checking account, the 401k trust can then invest into the Golden Goose LLC bank account. And then Golden Goose LLC can invest into any kind of asset, right? In this case, it's a piece of real estate. So Timmy's Solo 401k LLC, which essentially it's the special purpose LLC in his solo 401k, now owns that property. All expenses and income need to flow in and out of that Golden Goose LLC bank account, right? So if he does have rents coming back in, those rent checks need to be deposited not into his trust checking account, but into his special purpose LLC checking account. Say he has an expense like a new roof needs to get put on. So Timmy maybe needs to wire or send or transfer funds, additional funds from his trust checking account down to his Golden Goose LLC bank account. And then Timmy can then pay the roofing company from that LLC bank account. So definitely everything flows in and out of the special purpose LLC bank account and all is well. So just a little bit of additional information here. So additional funds can be invested from the solo 401k trust into the LLC at any time, right? So that's not a rollover. That's not it's essentially, you can move funds back and forth from the trust checking account to that LLC bank account. Since there's no tax consequences of any of that, that can happen at any time. No additional reporting necessary. Both the trustee or plan participant funds can be invested into the LLC. So that means your spouse's funds could be put in there as well. If you maybe have your spouse as a participant, we typically recommend one LLC for pre-tax assets and one LLC for Roth assets. You can mix both of those together, but you do have to maintain pretty meticulous records in that case because you got to just know what percentage was Roth, what percentage was traditional, because when those investments turn over or you do have income coming back in, all of the income or the deal coming back through has to flow through back to Roth and traditional proportionately to the amount that was originally invested, right? So much easier if you're investing Roth and traditional with separate LLCs. All expenses for the investment owned by the LLC should come from that LLC bank account, just to kind of reiterate that. So getting started, right? So initially, basically, we do bundle that special purpose LLC. There's a special offer when you get your solo 401k. It's a pretty special offer because it's very inexpensive. It's $499 setup cost. And what that covers is a bunch of things. That covers the $599 setup fee, $130 filing fee, plus an additional $100 credit. So basically, we're giving you a $230 discount. We will form those for you at any time, but that first one we'll do for $499 if you take us up on that offer in the online cart. So if not, it'll be, I believe, is that $730 when you come back to us. So it's still a pretty great deal. It looks like actually $725. I spoke a little too early. So we'll do that for $725. For those of you that have not set up that special purpose LLC yet, just go ahead and use that link down there. We can go ahead and set that up for you. It'll just be $725. Also, let's just go through some frequently asked questions here. So yeah, go ahead.
The first question, is this my business LLC and what's the difference between the two?
Yeah, so it's not your business LLC. This is special purpose, meaning it's an investment only LLC, and it's the investor is your solo 401k. So no tax return. So yeah, we covered some of those differences there. But when we form the LLC, it's important that we inform it as an investment only LLC. That's what makes it special purpose. And it's important too that we do that from the very beginning. It's not something you can just repurpose an old LLC. There can be kind of complications with that. So definitely, either have us do it or have a qualified attorney do it. There's just a few nuances there. Another question that we get a lot is, can I use, I just covered that. Can I use an existing special purpose LLC?
So no, just like Eric said, we have to form it the right way. Remember, your 401k is the member, and then you, the client, are the manager. So most likely that LLC that you have already is not formed correctly. So we will do it right for you.
Yeah, if it was your business entity, definitely not. If it was a special purpose LLC formed by like an attorney or, somebody else, I don't know. Are we able to repurpose that, Alana? I think we probably are,
I don't
right?
think that we will personally. I think we create a new one. They
Okay.
can have their attorney do it, but we won't redo that.
Yeah, we won't redo it. Yep.
It's cheaper just to come to us for us to fix it than paying your attorney $500 an hour.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Another question we get is, can my brother or another family member be a second manager of the special purpose LLC?
So only you, the client, is going to be the manager on that special purpose LLC. So these are all, great questions. We get them all the time.
Yep. Another one says, can I move a property I personally own under the special purpose LLC?
Yeah. So just like, you can't move any property that you personally own into your trust name, same rules apply. The only thing, there's only two ways to fund your solo 401k. It's with new contributions or rollovers, and a property you personally own is going to be neither. So the same rules apply as to the trusts and the special purpose LLC.
Yeah, that could be definitely considered a prohibited transaction for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So transacting with any of those disqualified persons like yourself, your spouse, your kids, your grandkids, parents, grandparents, always a major no-no. Can I use this special purpose LLC for purchases outside of the solo 401k?
So no, you cannot. It is only going to be used for retirement investments.
Perfect.
And then the next question, how come I have to pay an extra fee for the special purpose LLC?
Yeah, so it takes extra work to create that, guys. So it's basically, it takes us like 3 to 5 days to set up the special purpose LLC.
1 day, actually.
What's that?
We can get it set up in about 24 hours.
24 hours. Okay. 24 hours. So anyways, but our team has to do some work to get that all done for you. So yeah, that's what you're paying for. And obviously we want to get it done correctly so you don't have any issues whatsoever. Also, can I have my bank account anywhere for that special purpose LLC?
Absolutely. Just make sure you're setting up your bank account correctly. It's an LLC bank account, but yeah, you can have your bank account anywhere you want. You probably want it at the same bank as your trust. It just makes things much easier wiring funds back and forth. But yeah, it's absolutely up to you.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have to do a wire. You just basically transfer between accounts.
Okay, the next question. Where do I receive mail for the special purpose LLC?
Yes, that depends on what address that you put on your application for the special purpose LLC. It could be a PO box or a registered agent address. If you want to remain anonymous, if you want to have your business address, then we can certainly make it that address as well.
Yeah. And then also you shouldn't receive that much mail. And then any legal notice is going to go to the registered agent.
Great. And then how should I name that LLC is another question we get a lot.
Yeah. So you probably do not want to name it after your trust, after yourself, after your business, but just a name that you're comfortable with. Remember, it's going to be on your investments. It's going to be on a bank account. Do I have an EIN for the LLC? Is it different than the trust EIN?
You do. You have a separate EIN for the LLC, and it is different than your trust EIN. So just remember, it's not going to need to file a tax return, but it still does have an employer identification number. Okay, so no need to file a tax return because it's just the only investor or member is the solo 401k trust, and that's a tax exempt retirement trust. So there's no tax return for that either. So yes. Another question is, when investing in other states, does the LLC have to register as a foreign entity and pay that foreign LLC fee, like in wonderful California, like where I came from?
Yeah, it is. It is possible for sure. In California, you do. So we always tell people, go ahead and give the Secretary of State a call. If you're investing in another state and your LLC is formed in Wyoming, you might have to. Not every state is. I can tell you right now, calling the Secretary of State is not as hard as you would think. It's not like being on the phone with the IRS and getting disconnected and waiting an hour. They are actually very, very helpful. So don't be afraid to give them a call.
Yeah, and your Wyoming LLC can invest in all 50 states. Most states don't have an additional foreign filing fee. I know Texas doesn't. A lot of states don't, but yeah, you do want to, just make sure you're following, the rules for any state that you're investing in. All right. Well, guys, that concludes the training. We're going to do some Q&A. If you guys need additional support, go to our network. If you guys haven't joined there, solo401k.net. It's a great place to ask questions in the comments. Also, we post all of these webinars so you can check the past replays of previous webinars. We did a whole bunch of webinars on contributions, on Bitcoin and crypto. A lot of great webinars, so you guys can go check that out. Also, our website, and then, of course, our knowledge base at support.solo401k.com. A lot of great ways to get support. Also, if you guys are new to us and you haven't set up a solo 401k, feel free to take advantage of a one-on-one session with either Alana or myself. Go to solo401k.com/consult, or you can simply call us at 877-765-6401, or go to our website as well, or email us. Perfect. Let's open it up for some Q&A. Awesome. Looks like we got some questions coming in. So the first question we got here from David, he says, we have a checkbook LLC owned by our Roth IRAs. The manager of the LLC is a third party. Also, this party has check signing authority for the bank account. Does the IRS allow me to have check signing authority for this account? So far, we have avoided doing this.
Yeah, it sounds like, David, are you not a client of ours and you're with a custodial program because you have a third party that's the manager? Because when we set it up, you're going to be the manager, which gives you check writing authority. So let us know if it was set up somewhere else and someone else is the manager. It sounds like they need to cut the checks. But I'm just making some assumptions right here. Okay, the next question comes from Raymond. Does the Special Purpose LLC pay taxes at the state level?
Yeah, no, it doesn't, Raymond. So it's a disregarded entity. And remember that the LLC flows up to the trust, and the solo 401k is a tax exempt retirement trust. Or in the example of the IRA, same thing. IRAs are not taxable. So yeah, no tax return either at a federal or state level necessary.
Good question. The next question.
Another question from Mike. It says, why use a 401k trust instead of a 401k LLC and eliminate the need to have a 401k trust than a special purpose LLC?
And eliminate the need. Well, so there's different reasons. Well, if you're going to use that special purpose LLC, that's for that extra layer of protection. It's optional. So, it's great for rentals. Like if you're going to do rental properties in your 401k, like the example we gave, it does protect the rest of your trusts. Not sure if that's the question you're
I think
asking.
I'm not sure if he's misinterpreting, but there's no such thing as a 401k LLC. So the 401k typically, a lot of 401ks out there are custodial 401ks, meaning that the trust company or the custodian is the trustee, meaning they're in charge of your funds really when you come down to it. With ours, it's a non-custodial plan, meaning that your trust is a new entity that we help form for you where you are the trustee of that trust. So that gives you actually checkbook control at the 401k plan level. And that's what allows you to then also establish like a special purpose LLC under it as an asset of the solo 401k. So I think maybe there's a misinterpretation, but
Yeah.
I could be wrong, Mike. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. But anyways, clarify if you're on here, Mike. But I think what you're asking isn't something that exists. It's the solo 401k trust, which can invest in things by itself. But the special purpose LLC, like we went over today, there's a lot of great reasons why to use that LLC as an asset to do your investments.
Okay. So from G, an ROI income on assets in the special purpose LLC should go directly into the LLC.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so that should flow all back into your LLC bank account. So if the LLC was the owner of that piece of property when you purchased it, if it's on title, then all the expenses should be paid from that LLC bank account. All the income should also flow back into that LLC bank account. Keeps it nice and clean. Another question from FB. He says special purpose LLC is taxed as an LLC or as an S corp or pays no taxes.
Yep. Good question, FB. And I think we just talked about it. So yeah, no taxes, guys, because remember, this is an asset of your 401k and your 401k is not paying taxes. It is all tax deferred. That's the beauty of it.
Yep. Great question.
The next question comes from Thomas. What if I already have a solo 401k investments using the trust?
Yeah, really good question, Thomas. I believe it's possible you could retitle those investments in the name of the LLC if you want to. Just work with the deal sponsor or your attorney to get that retitled. But yeah, you could certainly get assets that are titled in the trust moved over to the LLC, since that LLC really it's an investment of the trust, so they are linked, right? So there's not going to be any tax consequences of that change or that transfer because it's all happening within a tax deferred structure. So yeah, 100%, you could definitely move that over.
Yeah, great question, Thomas. Awesome. The next question comes from FB. So the business in a special purpose LLC needs to be passive income, rental homes, not active income. I decide to produce and sell widgets, correct?
Yeah, so it can actually be, it could be either one, but it's just not best practices to have it be active income because it can generate a tax inside your retirement plan called UBIT or unrelated business income tax. And so if you have an active business or something that the IRS considers an active business, then that could potentially generate taxes inside your retirement account. Or since your LLC is inside the retirement account, that could also generate taxes for the LLC as well. So yeah, generally best practices is to make your investments passive, right? So rental homes, syndications, a lot of different ways to do real estate inside the solo 401k. You could be a lender, like a hard money lender. You could buy tax liens. We've done a ton of great trainings on this. Check the network. There's a lot of great trainings back there on different ways to do real estate. Another question from Thomas. He's asking this: the cost of setting up the LLC can be paid from the trust.
I don't think it can be. Well, actually, Hold on. Let's come back to that one. I want to make sure that my answer is going to be right.
All right, we got another one from Doug. He says, can I use the same special purpose LLC for my Roth solo 401k and my Roth IRA?
Yeah, good question, Doug. So no, you cannot, because it has to be set up in the right way. So your special purpose LLC for your Roth solo 401k is only for the solo 401k. You can mix traditional and Roth funds in your special purpose LLC for the solo 401k. It's not recommended, but you can. But as for the Roth IRA, because it's a totally separate retirement account, and we have to set it up as, when we do that Roth IRA and we get that special purpose LLC, the member is going to be your Roth IRA, and then you will be the manager on that. So unfortunately, you will need a separate one.
Yeah, we don't do multi-member LLCs. So if you want that done, you probably want to seek the help of like a qualified tax attorney to do that.
And then also, I'm going to jump in real fast about the question about cost of setting up the LLC paid from the trust. So it can, but most CPAs don't recommend it, as you don't want to draw down your retirement funds.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's probably possible because once your trust checking account is set up, you'll have like check writing abilities or, possibly a debit card, which you could pay for the special purpose LLC with. But yeah, those are special funds. These are tax deferred or Roth funds. Do you really want to spend that on an LLC? You could simply use your sponsoring business to pay for it. And then I believe it could be a tax deductible expense. So check with your CPA on that. Another question from John, John says joint trust, husband and wife can use the same LLC.
Yep, absolutely. And then as for like the manager on that LLC, it could either be one or both of you guys. So we actually will ask that on the application, and you'll just put both your names on. You don't have to necessarily, because you can both use it. You guys are both trustees. You're both on the plan. So great question. The next question comes from Phil. Is there an age restriction on developing a solo 401k?
Phil, there is not that I'm aware of. No age limit, correct? I mean, even a minor could set up a solo 401k if they have a legitimate sponsoring business, right? No age limit. Keep in mind, if you're age 72 or older, there are required minimum distributions to account for. So, you set up a solo 401k, roll money in, or make new contributions from your business. Past age 72, you would have annual required minimum distributions to do, but no age restrictions that I know of.
Perfect. Yep.
So a question from FB, does Neighbors have any contacts for establishing offshore accounts, shelf corps, etc.?
Hey, FB. No, we do not. Feel free to jump in the network and ask anyone in the network if they do, but currently we do not have any contacts. The next question is from G. I have a special purpose LLC in my solo 401k trust that I just restated to Neighbors. Is there also an option to restate the agent for the special purpose LLC to the Neighbors agent? Do you have instructions for that?
I don't know that one.
Yeah.
We'll have to get back to you on that, G. Let's
Yeah.
we can send you an email. Yeah.
And then just in case we forget, G, how about you email info@neighbors.com and just put that exact question in, and we'll get it to the right person. So good question.
Really good question. Yeah. All right. This is a question from Jolinda. Does the solo 401k file a tax return?
Yeah, Jalinda. So there is no tax return. There is something called Form 5500 EZ. It's just an information gathering form. When your account is at $250,000 or more, you are required to do that form. And guess what? We help you with it. It is super, super easy. So don't worry about that form. The next question comes from Jim. Is there a reason to have a special purpose LLC in the self-directed IRA?
Yeah, so Jim, with us, if you have your self-directed IRA with us, it comes already with an LLC attached to it. There are like self-directed IRA custodians out there, but that's like a custodial IRA. So you have a custodian basically telling you if you can or can't do an investment. Typically, that slows down deals. So we have a checkbook control structure for the IRA, which already includes a special purpose LLC in it. Your IRA in that case is the member that's investing the funds into the LLC, and then you're the manager of that LLC. Our structure, it's already included. That makes you have check control from the very beginning. We help you set that all up. We help you roll over the money. We also help you form that LLC. And then with one signature, money moves from your IRA down to the LLC bank account. And then you have full checkbook control from there. So if you have it at another self-directed custodian, feel free to set up an account with us, and then you can do a tax-free rollover of either a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA. Another question from FB, no state federal taxes, so I can start a lending business, make 100 billion per year, and pay no taxes, correct?
Yeah, I mean, well, if it's passive and if you're lending funds, I mean, that is passive and you're making 100 billion a year, power to you. Yeah, your solo 401k, if you're using traditional funds to invest, all your taxes are deferred. So you're not going to pay until distributions. And if you're using Roth, you're never going to pay. So yeah, FB, go out there and make that money. The next question comes from Matt. If you collect rent for a property purchased by the Special Purpose LLC, can you move the money back to the trust as you wish to use for other investments? Great question.
Really good. Yeah, great question, Matt. Yeah, absolutely. You have freedom to do that because you are the manager of the LLC and you're the trustee of the trust. So, and that's not a taxable movement. So, because the LLC is an asset. Remember, that's an asset of your solo for trust. So, you can move back and forth between those two. Assets can move back and forth between the two. So, yeah, absolutely. Say for example, you have a great investment, a piece of property, it's gone up in value by, let's say, 50%. The LLC sells that piece of property. You've now generated a bunch of cash that's in your LLC bank account. You could then move that back up to the trust level and invest that into stocks, to crypto if you wanted to, anything else you wanted to do at the trust level. Yeah, 100%. Really, really good question. Another question from Sean. He says, how much more work is this for my accountant?
It's really not that much work. You're keeping good detailed records. You're working with your accountant on things like when you make contributions, you want to make sure to let your accountant know so you lower your taxable income. As for, record keeping as a whole for everything, you're having spreadsheets. Like for me, I have a spreadsheet. I put on one spreadsheet my contributions, the other my investments. And if I had this special purpose LLC, I'd have a third worksheet, and just keeping track of when funds move in and out of that LLC bank account is important. So I'd say there's not that much more work, honestly.
Yeah, I think the only time it'd be more work is like if you were running a business inside your 401k plan, then you can generate. We talked about that a little bit. The unrelated business income taxes, which is UBIT. In that case, your account would have to file taxes based on what you made in that quote unquote business. That's why it's best to do your passive investments in the solo 401k and the special purpose LLC. So keeping everything passive keeps it super simple, and it's all tax deferred. So your accountant doesn't have any additional work. And like Alana said, you just want to keep detailed records, since you're the plan administrator for your plan.
And to anyone that's thinking, let me start running a business in my 401k and take the tax consequence, because I know some people out there might be thinking that. Typically, it's not even worth it. The taxes are so high for UBIT that it's really just going to cut into your profit. So remember, we are keeping investments passive. So just a little side note.
You get taxed at trust tax rates, which are basically like ordinary income tax rates, but a little bit higher actually. So, So anyways, you can still do it. Maybe the return is so great that it's worth it to you, but typically probably not.
Okay, the next question is from Jim. What happens to the Special Purpose LLC if you need to dissolve the self-directed 401k?
Yeah, so well, any assets that are in your solo 401k, before you dissolve it, you actually have to roll those out. So if it's a special purpose LLC that's holding the asset, you would just need to set up either a self-directed IRA or a checkbook IRA like we have, and then you would need to work on retitling those assets into the name of that that new account. Whether if it's the checkbook IRA with us, it would be that new LLC name that you set up for the IRA. If it's with a custodian, it'd be in their name, right? And once those are moved over, then you can go ahead and close down the self-directed 401k. And we won't close it down until you've told us that everything's moved out. If it's cash, very simple, just roll it over. If it's assets, just get it retitled. Hope that helps, Jim. Another question from Sean. He said, when I have transferred money from a simple IRA in the past to a brokerage, the brokerage initiates the transfer. Since I now have to transfer the simple IRA to the trust and then to the special purpose LLC, then to the brokerage, who initiates the movement of the money? Am I making this more confusing than it is?
Well, it's confusing stuff, Sean. So it sounds like right now your funds are now in a simple IRA. You went from one simple IRA to another simple IRA, and now you're wanting to go to the trust. So when you're rolling funds from like your current custodian into your new solo 401k trust, the releasing custodian is going to do the 1099-R on that. So you don't have to worry about doing that. Now your funds are in your solo 401k, in your trust. When you go from the trust to the special purpose LLC, there's no reporting to the IRS. You should report to yourself. Put that on your spreadsheet that you've moved us, a certain amount of funds to your special purpose LLC, but no reporting to the IRS for that. So great question, Sean.
And also, Sean, really no reason to use the special purpose LLC if you're investing in stocks. You could just have the trust open an account on like a Fidelity or a TD Ameritrade, or we have step-by-step guides on all the major ones. So feel free to use those guides. But the special purpose LLC really mostly just for doing like hard assets, lending maybe, but mostly it's for hard assets like real estate. If you're purchasing that, it's a good idea to have the special purpose LLC.
The next question comes from John. Can a controlled group plan use the same LLC bank account?
Yes. So a controlled group plan, John, all that is it's basically still, it's just you. It's multiple businesses, right? It might be like your sole proprietorship and your wife's sole proprietorship, or it might be like your LLC and your sole proprietorship. That's all you, right? So that's all your sponsoring business. The controlled group really has nothing to do with can it control you? So I'm not sure. Is he asking?
Mm-hmm.
Is he asking about his business? So John, I'm not sure if you're asking about your business or if you're asking about the special purpose LLC. But for a controlled group plan, you have the same trust structure and the special purpose LLC as anybody else that just has a normal, just a single business, solo 401k plan. So The only thing that's different about a controlled group plan is just the businesses that are sponsoring the plan. Nothing else is different other than that. So I hope that helps. If you need clarification on that, John, just ask us another question.
Oh, he's talking about people in the group. So, John, do you have like a multiple business? There are other business owners. So, like you, John, have a plan. Your business partner has a plan. If that's the situation, then everything's separate. You have your own special purpose LLC for your plan. Your business partner has their own special purpose LLC for their plan. You know, your plans are completely separate. Yeah, it's the same sponsoring business, but your plans never intermingle.
And that's more of a multi-owner plan, John, if that's the case. So not a controlled group, but yeah, in that case, we exclude your other business partners by their role title. So that way they're not in your plan, they're out of your plan. It's just you. And then if they want to set their own solo 401k up, they can also have their own and have you excluded from their plan. And then at that point, it's completely the same as everybody else's. You can just use it exactly how we just talked about on this webinar.
Perfect.
Another question from Sean. He says, will a replay of this seminar be available?
Always. We put replays in the network. So if you haven't been to the network, check it out. Just go to the past events and you'll find all of them. So good question. And I'll pull that for you guys as well. Okay, the next question from D. If I invest in real estate, will there be UBIT?
So no, if it's passively invested, like say it's a rental property, and you're just collecting rents, you're definitely allowed to do like clerical functions on that property, right? You can collect the rents, you can screen tenants for credit scores and that kind of thing. But you definitely don't want to do like any fixing of the property, because that could potentially create like a prohibited transaction. But UBIT really has to do with running an active business. So whatever the IRS considers to be an active business, that could potentially generate UBIT. So if it's a passive rental, anything that would be a passive investment outside of your solo 401k would be a passive investment inside. So if you're unsure about that, maybe Google passive investments. You can find out a bunch of different ways to passively invest, or ask your CPA or tax attorney about that.
Yeah, and D, if you're asking also about so more specifically, there's something called UDFI. It's also considered, it's a UBIT, but it's unrelated debt income finance. So actually the solo 401k avoids that tax. If you have an investment with a self-directed IRA, you do have this tax and you're taxed on the leverage, but the solo 401k avoids the UDFI. So if you're asking more specifically about UDFI, then there's no UDFI tax when you're talking about leverage.
Yeah, great point. And a question from Thomas says, what is the fee for both the solo 401k and the special purpose LLC?
Yeah, so if you bundle them together, the setup fee for the solo 401k is $399 plus our $99 annual. So it's $498 for the solo 401k. And then if you're bundling it, you are saving a bit of money. The special purpose LLC is only going to be $499.
Yeah, and you'll be able to take advantage of that. I just put the app link in there, Thomas, for you if you want. Feel free to use that. Again, that's that discount on the special purpose LLC. There is the link below our screen here that should say, set up the special purpose LLC. That one's set up for folks that already have a solo, right, Alana?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yep.
Okay, that was great questions. I'm glad we got so many people here for the special purpose LLC. It was a good one. Yeah, like always, guys, if you have any suggestions for our next webinar, I think we'll be taking a break for about 2 weeks for the Wednesday webinar. So if you have any ideas, let us know so we can start creating it. What are you interested in? What do you want to learn more about?
Yeah, and also if you guys are new to us, we do new account trainings on Fridays. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern, correct?
Yep.
2 p.m. Eastern. So join us for that if you guys have a new account, or if you're interested in understanding just the basics of solo 401k. We typically do like solo 401k basics or the IRA LLC basics. And then open Q&As are on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern. So you can join us for that. Any other questions you might have, join us for that. And then we do crypto conversations right now at 6 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. So if you guys are interested in learning about that exciting asset class and what's going on there, we do really interesting and varied and diverse trainings on crypto there.
And then Peggy, just so you know, if you look up, you'll see solo401k.net/events. You'll find all of our events there, the upcoming ones. You'll see the past ones. So you'll be able to see this one and any of our past ones. So check it out, Peggy. Okay.
All right.
Let's
been
awesome.
off. Let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, it's been awesome, guys. Thanks so much for your participation. We love when you guys join these trainings and are engaged like this. So it's been awesome. Let us know any other questions you have. And if like you're new to us, definitely take us up on the consultation, solo401k.com/consult. Look forward to talking with you guys and have a good rest of your Wednesday.